What's up, my peoples? What it do? What it do, y'all? I just really want to know why y'all think Kamala didn't win. I really want to know why y'all think that. This ain't about no trolling or joking around. Why do y'all think she didn't win? Let's talk about that. And I got my point of views on it, but let's talk about it. This is a real question, y'all. Why y'all think she didn't win? Why y'all think Kamala didn't win, man? Y'all so vocal about the negative stuff. Let's talk about something positive. Let's talk about why she didn't win. You know? Minus Trump being a felon, you know? And I only say he's not a felon because they convicted him as a felon. So he is technically a felon. But we've never seen a president be a felon before. So that's why I'm biased to just believe it, because there's been a lot of shady stuff going on as far as the people that wanted to get him convicted. I think it was Fonnie Willis, them, you know, all of them was doing shady stuff, but they was a part of this conspiracy to get Trump convicted of these crimes and stuff. But why y'all think she didn't get elected? You know, minus, like I say, the negative stuff. Minus, we don't like him. Why y'all think, come on, this ain't even about Trump. This is about why y'all think she didn't get elected. Like, y'all can come up, you can comment. Why y'all think she ain't get elected? In my personal opinion, I believe Kamala didn't get elected because enough people didn't support her or vote. Like, you have a lot of people who have opinions, right? Who didn't vote at all. And the problem with that is, this is my first year voting. So I never really had an opinion about previous elections because I didn't vote. But going through the last Trump administration and being able to start a business, pay less in taxes, and prosper, and start my own business where I haven't had to work for anyone else since I've started this business in 2020, I've realized that from that administration to this last Democratic administration, that a lot of things have changed, especially taxes, especially the cost of goods, the cost of living, gas prices, the amount of money people have in their pocket, how much money you're spending when you go shopping. I remember $200, man, went a long way in Walmart. I remember being able to fill up 2 grocery carts with $200 in Walmart. I don't know how many of y'all can be honest enough to remember that too, but I remember that. But why do y'all think Kamala Harris didn't get the votes that she needed? You know, I just think that, you know, on this platform, a lot of the times we joke, we play. You know, some people take it more serious than others. I don't never take it serious where it's going to make me unfriend somebody, or, you know, like, it ain't never that serious for me. But I just really want to know why y'all think she didn't get elected, man. Let's talk about that. Why y'all think she didn't get elected? That's all I'm asking. And my personal opinion is people didn't vote for her. Like, when they showed the polls in Michigan, the majority of Michigan was red. So that means a lot of people voted Republican. I think Flint was one of the only counties in the tri-state area that did not vote Republican. I'm unsure of that because they didn't actually name the parts, but they had everything lit up by county, but they didn't have the names of the county. But I'm pretty sure it was Flint who voted majority Democratic. But yeah, people didn't get out and vote. These are the same people that's on Facebook now with their opinions. These are the same people that's on Facebook now trying to discredit me, a person who did vote, a person that did participate in the process. You know, they're mad at me because of my views and how I look at things. But then, like I said, at the end of the day, I lived through the Trump administration. I was more successful in that administration, even with the COVID. That's what make it even crazier. With the COVID going on, with me catching the COVID and being sicker than I've ever been in my life, I recovered from that and still was able to prosper in that administration. But under Biden, not saying that I wasn't thriving or, getting ahead in life, but I wasn't making as much money as I was making when Trump was in office. I also was noticing the money that I was spending for goods and different things didn't go a long way. So I literally probably spend $200 a week on groceries. So that's $800 a month that I spend on groceries. And I have 2 little children. So, children be throwing stuff away, messing up, messing the food around, not eating and stuff. And that, we came up in in a society where you couldn't throw away no food. But what I'm saying is the amount of stuff that we get now for what we're paying for groceries doesn't go a long way. Now, I truly think that is the Democratic Party's fault. I also think that the taxes being the way they are under the Trump administration and changing 2025, I also think that was one of the things that Kamala and Biden wanted to do away with and raise taxes for Americans. And it's like, I don't understand how people would want that. Like, things are high. They want you to pay more in taxes. They want you to be careless with your body and be able to go get abortions. They want you to support transgenders. They want you to, allow this type of stuff to be in the textbooks in the schools for kids to learn about. It's like, just think about this, right? Trump is a felon. Trump was convicted of falsifying, I think he falsified business records in order to hide the fact that he paid a porn star hush money to not come out and expose him as he was running for presidency. But the thing is, all right, he didn't rape her. It was consensual. But the thing that I noticed with a lot of these celebrities and porn stars and high maintenance females, and the reason why I would never deal with those type of females is because no matter how long ago it was that y'all had this experience, they always seem to try to come back and benefit off of the fact that, okay, this man is rich and wealthy. So him not having control of himself put him in an environment with a woman who was willing to, I guess, expose him for cheating on his wife, and he's paying her so she wouldn't do that, and it still comes out anyway. So at the end of the day, you still lose. So you lose on top of being convicted of trying to make the money look like you paid a lawyer when really you paid off a porn star. But at the end of the day, my thing is like, is that something that we're going to focus on so much or make more important than women being careless with their bodies and having abortions as a form of contraceptive? Is that like, which one outweighs the other? And if you try to make it seem like both of them are bad, that's not the question. I'm trying to figure out, which one do you think is worse? Women being careless and using abortions as a form of contraceptive. I know women that had 4 abortions. I know women that had 4+ abortions. And these weren't emergency situations. These were women being careless. This was a situation where she didn't want to be pregnant by a dude, or a dude that she liked didn't like her, and then she got an abortion because he wasn't messing with her no more. But to me, that's not a good enough reason to get an abortion. And it's never a reason for tampons to be in male bathrooms. Let alone the tampons that's in the male bathrooms are free, while the tampon machine that's in the women's bathroom, you have to pay for the tampons. See, that type of stuff to me don't make sense. And when I deep dive into trying to understand what it is they're trying to do, it just doesn't look like they're trying to give black men or black people anything to help us. Federally legalizing weed does not help us. I mean, explain to me how legalizing weed on the federal level is going to help the black community. Unless everybody you know is trying to open a dispensary, unless everybody you know is trying to deal with weed. Because I used to smoke weed, I used to sell weed. I don't do any of that shit no more. So with me running an actual legitimate business and reinventing myself, I look at certain things that's going on in our environment. Like over on the east side, they're putting a lot of dispensaries over there. They're starting to pop up everywhere. As far as liquor stores, they're over there. You have a lot of churches over there. But the only beneficial thing that they're basically giving us is the churches, or the churches that are already in our community. Everything else, we don't need a liquor store on every corner. We don't need a dispensary on every corner, because weed does not help us save money. At the end of the day, if you think about the amount of money that people spend on smoking weed, and then you get older, and when you get older and you ain't got enough money to live off of when you can't work no more, but you done invested over $50,000 of your income for the last 30, 40 years into smoking weed and drinking alcohol and smoking cigarettes, and you see these, other countries and other people getting rich off of our black community, while y'all ain't taking that money and thinking like, what do we need to do with our money? How do we benefit off each other? See, we don't think like that in the black community. So what they'll do, like the other races, they'll figure out, okay, what do black people like to do? Black people like to spend money. Black people like to be fresh. Black people like to smoke weed, drink, and party. Black people like to do all these things that other races benefit off of. But us as black people don't benefit off of these dispensaries. It's two black owned dispensaries now on Genesee. The rest of them dispensaries is owned by other races, and they're benefiting off of the black community. T&M isn't owned by black people. Liquor Basket isn't owned by black people. Food Basket isn't owned by black people. The majority of the businesses that thrive in our community aren't owned by black people. So when y'all take y'all hard-earned money, because ain't nobody, like, even if you got to sell drugs, that's hard, because you got to watch your back. You got to, it's not really a such thing as easy money. You have to earn money by working for it. And going to work is hard when a person really don't want to do some of these jobs that they got to get up every day and do. But you're taking the money from your struggle, basically, in your life, and using it to buy things that control your life, that control your income. Because if you're taking $100 extra out of your paycheck a week or every 2 weeks and spending it on weed and drinking, you're not only harming yourself, you're harming your pockets. You're hurting your wealth. If you have children, that money could have went towards their investments. You could have invested the money that you smoking every time you go buy an ounce, or every time you go buy a couple ounces. You could have invested that into your children's future. But us as black people, we don't think about that until it's too late. But like I said, man, why do y'all think Kamala lost this election? Because that's the question that I'm really trying to get to. Why y'all think Kamala lost? This ain't about trolling. This ain't about me making fun of nobody. I'm not cracking jokes right now. This is real talk. Y'all get on Facebook all day playing. Y'all ain't no better than Smokey. Like Craig told Smokey, you walk up and down the street all day playing, joking around. But then when it's really time to pay Big Worm that money, you ain't got it. And you wanna know why you ain't got it? Because you still think like a slave. You out here shuckling and shuffling. You out here tap dancing. You playing games. When you really could be getting ahead, man. It don't take 30 years for you to get rich. It take a year of sacrifice. It take a year of not going to buy stuff that you normally buy. It take for you to be disciplined and focused. But the problem is, we don't realize we ain't been disciplined and focused until we get too old to work. Now, we need somebody to take care of us. But that person that we need to take care of us, or those kids we need to take care of us, we haven't been taking care of them. But you think providing a household, or you think taking them back and forth to school and making them go into school, you think feeding them, you think all of that is taking care of a child. But you could be investing in their future. By the time they're born and then they become 18 years old, you can literally make your child a millionaire if you invest the right amount of money. And it wouldn't take for you to take all your money to do that. You still could live the lifestyle you want to live. You still could pay your bills. You still could be, you know, somewhat, you still can live somewhat of a decent life. And you can set your children up to where they have investments, they have a portfolio, they know how to use credit. They're not overutilizing their credit and destroying their credit scores before they get of age. You can literally be setting your kids up for success. But the problem in the black community is basically what, like I say, my personal opinion is black people don't understand that they're their own demise. They're their own demise. And some people wake up and realize, like, man, I could have been so much further ahead in life, like me. And then some people never realize that. So, like I say, what do y'all think, man? You know, I personally think Kamala didn't make it because enough black people didn't get out to vote. And one thing you have to give to Donald Trump is he has people that are serious about him and what he got going on. This man is a convicted felon 30 times over, and he still has people supporting him to be the president of the United States. Why don't black people support each other like that? You see what I'm saying? See, we condemn our community. We, talk about the people in our community. We hurt the people of our community. We kill the people in our community. We get the people in our community locked up. But black people don't help or support each other in a group effort to accomplish anything major. And we keep falling behind because of that. So it's not that I didn't want to vote for a woman and put her into office. I just knew that would be something that I couldn't align with the majority of people to do, because the majority of black people ain't going line. They're all out for self. So I would rather be in a party that supports one another, that helps one another, that, honestly put me in a better situation in life when Donald Trump was in office. I would rather be a part of something like that than be a part of, okay, we just want a black woman to be the president. Okay, but what other reasons do you have, or what other policies can you name, or what other benefits to her being the president are we looking at? And the majority of people never had an answer to that. So I guess we're just supposed to vote for it. That's like me saying I voted for Donald Trump because he was a man, or he was a white man. See, we fell into that trap with Obama. And then look at what Obama did. He shamed us for not wanting to support a woman who at one point in time locked men up for marijuana, but then went on the Breakfast Club chasing clout and jokingly, made a joke about smoking weed, and she actually inhaled that stuff. See, this is the type of person that they want us to support, but to me, that's hypocritical. You actually locked people up for marijuana in California for excessive amount of time. You locked up more black people than any other race. You were a part of that with Joe Biden and Clinton. And then you, in an effort to become the president, you go out here and start shucking. You go out here and start tap dancing. You go out here and bring a woman out. See, this is one thing about the women in my life. I've never seen the women in my life that raised me shaking their asses or twerking or, wearing skimpy clothes or, doing questionable, scandalous, out of the ordinary things. I've never seen the women in my life do stuff like that. From the neighbors to my aunties, to my mother, to my grandmother, to, my great aunties, my great grandmother. I've never seen. Hold on. See, it's always the cause that try to, interrupt the sermon. But I've never seen those type of women do anything that suggested that they needed attention. And what Kamala Harris went out and did was spent all that money to bring out these entertainers. She went out there and spent all that money to get y'all reeled in, to program y'all into this Democratic plantation where it's like, okay, yeah, y'all come on to the plantation and we gonna feed y'all. We gonna take care of y'all. We gonna party. But we're not gonna actually have an answer for the economy. We're not going to have an answer for why we let so many illegal people in here. But when you start to research and deep dive why they let so many people in here, it's because they don't want to pay Americans their fair wage so Americans can benefit off of the work that needs to be done in America. We have a lot of illegal immigrants because they don't want to pay you what you're worth. If we can go and get somebody, this is another thing about black people, right? And I used to make this mistake and I don't do it no more. I used to go and look for a discount or the cheapest possible way to get my car fixed or to get a house worked on or save some money here and there. But every time I've tried to save money, I've always end up spending more. Whether I'm getting something cheaper that don't last, whether I'm having, a certain mechanic work on something and then that turns into, okay, I just needed this and now I need 3 other things. Instead of just taking my vehicle to the Caucasians who charge a little more, but they guarantee their work and they give you a warranty. So if anything happens, you can bring it right back to us and you ain't got to pay nothing. But me trying to be cheap and me trying to get the lookout or the discount always costs me. So when it comes to, Kamala Harris now, they're always looking to give you something. You're always going to be looking for a handout. And they know that. But with having that type of attitude, you end up becoming a slave to the Democratic Party. You don't even understand that you're practicing habits of a slave. If you want somebody to always give you something, as an adult, there's something wrong with you, man. You should want to be able to pay for your groceries. You shouldn't want the government to give you an orange card to where you can pay for your groceries so you can save the money to spend in other areas that don't make you no money. See, it would make sense if you took that money and invested it and then tried to take advantage of the government. But I'm not even promoting you do that. I'm promoting that you be held accountable, look at your life, manage your business more effectively, create a budget for yourself, Create a budget for your children. Teach them about credit. Teach them about money early and paying bills. Don't live above your means. See, I'm advocating for that. I'm not advocating for getting over on people or getting over on the government. But if you're going to live your life always dependent on something, you're no different than a drug addict or a slave, because you're always looking for master or looking for the dope man to hand you or give you some, or I want to do a little work to get this. But in doing that, in the black community, we sell ourselves short. We should stand for more than just, okay, she's gonna give us some weed, she gonna give us these forgivable loans. What good is a forgivable loan going to do a person that don't know how to manage money? That's no different than how we all had the PPP loans. We all had the unemployment money. It was people working out here still getting the unemployment money. Guess what they was doing? They was smoking weed, partying, and spending that money. They wasn't investing it. They wasn't saving it. They wasn't buying. I'm not saying everybody, but the majority of people wasn't doing what they were supposed to do with that money. And then when that money dried up, now we all out here struggling when we could have had $20,000, $30,000 worth of money invested into a certain stock that could be giving us dividends and making us more money right now. Or we could have bought properties that could have been paying us money to where, okay, I'm still working, but I also have these other sources of income coming in because I took this money and did the right thing with it. So what's the purpose of getting things for free from the Democratic Party if the people that's getting it isn't going to do the right thing with it? See, I'm not supporting Trump because I love Trump or I'm a fan of Trump. I'm supporting the experience that I had when he was president prior to these people that's in or that was in office prior till today. Like, my experience in life was better. I seen people traveling. Every store I went into, it was always something missing, whether it was the liquor store, Walmart, Kroger, Myers, it was always something missing because people were thriving. The economy was booming when Trump was in office. It just boomed today. See, but y'all don't pay attention to that. Y'all paying attention to how much the weed costs in the dispensary, when you could be investing that same money into the stock market. And I'm not saying you can't smoke. You just gotta have to do what you want to do. But be mindful that while you're taking extra money that could be making you money to smoke it up or put a lighter to it and burn it up, like, be mindful that it's other things that you could be doing with that money that you smoking up and throwing away. Especially if you got kids. See, that's the problem. Our kids suffer because of the sins of our fathers. So what that means to me, right? And this could apply to mothers as well, because there's a lot of single mothers that's really mothers and fathers to their children. They got to get their hair done. They got to get their nails done. They got to smoke. They got to drink. They got to do all this stuff that could be going towards investments. They take that away from the children, and the sins and the things that control them and control their mind take away from what could be helping their family build generational wealth. But I got off track, man. Like, what do y'all think happened to the Democratic Party, and why didn't Kamala Harris win the presidential election? That's the question. That's the question. In all seriousness, man, what do y'all think happened? I know we want to get on Facebook, like I say, and crack jokes and, and say certain things that we shouldn't be taking personally anyways. But, like, why do y'all think she didn't win? That's a serious question. Why y'all think she didn't win, man? I ain't trying to joke. I'm not trying to harm women. I'm not trying to bash women. I'm not trying to hurt women. I really want to know why y'all think this woman didn't win. It was a lot of circling allegations about she wasn't black. And I also seen where she said in the interview, if you ever became president, would you ever do anything for black people in specifically? And she said no. So stuff like that hurts you, especially when eventually you're going to need black voters to support you. especially in these cities that Trump flipped, that normally were Democratic cities that became Republican cities. It's like, these are major keys to her downfall to me. It's like, you can't cater to black people and black women at the last minute because you see you're failing in the polls. You can't have Obama come out and try to shame man into voting for you, because real man, you're not going to be able to shame them into doing nothing. See, maybe a little boy, maybe your son, but we don't mess with Obama like that. Obama gave us gay marriages, but Obama didn't give black man rights or specific rights to where he protects black man that ever is in a situation where normally he would be charged far more harshly. He didn't create anything to help black people or black men in particular. And Joe Biden in this last Democratic Party didn't either. I need somebody to name, what did they give us in these last 4 years besides more immigrants? So the immigrants can do the work and be paid less and sell themselves short, because the people that's in power here didn't want to pay Americans to do the work. But, you know, coming from a third world country or countries like Mexico or these other foreigners that came over here, a lot of them didn't get paid close to what America was paying them to do these jobs. So they're looking at what they're doing while we looking at it as hard work, and we want 20 plus an hour to do it. They putting the immigrants over here, putting them in houses, giving them food stamps, giving them cars, giving them educations, giving them citizenship, and giving them less money to do jobs that we demand more for. See, if you were a true American who understood just that is in what Donald Trump is trying to say, then you would understand that he's trying to fight for the nurses who are in the hospital not being paid enough. The person that works on these raggedy streets we got here in Saginaw that's not getting paid enough. The trash people, the mailman and mailwomen. He's fighting for the American citizen and average people. Now we can say, okay, well, he wants to give the rich people tax cuts and help with that. But what y'all got to understand about rich people having money is, if rich companies are being taxed more, then that leaves them less incentives to give you raises, to give you promotions. If they are being taxed more, then now we got to send y'all home for labor because our labor high. So one person got to do the job instead of us having money to where we can pay 10 people to do the job, where your job ain't as hard no more because you got 9 people helping you. But if we tax the rich, then now the rich can't open new businesses. They can't start new businesses. They can't help the society and the economy because they're being taxed too much. So eventually businesses go out of business and people lose jobs. See, the way that you help people is by cutting taxes. The way that you help Americans is by putting the jobs that they're taking to Mexico and China and you bring that here. The way that you help Americans is by not signing that bill that Kamala kept saying Trump didn't sign, or the Republicans didn't sign because Donald Trump didn't want them to sign it. You don't support that so they can give money to Ukraine and Israel and these other countries to fight wars. You don't sign the stuff to help other countries. You sign the stuff that's going to help Americans. And that's basically, you know, what it all boils down to. If you're an American, whether you're African American or white American or Native American, it don't matter. As long as you have American in your race, you should be benefiting off of what goes on in America. It should be no reason why other countries are getting billions of dollars to fight wars and blow stuff up, and Florida can't get insurance companies to insure the properties down there, knowing that it's always going to be some type of natural disaster. It should be somebody incentivizing a way for Florida okay, if I choose to stay in Florida and I'm always in a natural disaster, it should be some type of insurance that covers my house being rebuilt, or at least puts me and my family in a hotel until my house can be rebuilt, or, just something that helps Americans. But when you give billions of dollars to the Ukraine and only got $700 and something to give people that just went through a natural disaster and lost everything in America, to me, you failed our country. So no part of what they did, to me, I don't know anything in particular that the Democrats did to help us for the last 4 years. That's why I didn't vote Democratic. Now, I did vote for Amos O'Neill because that's family. And I did vote for Monique, too. I did. And I'm going to tell y'all why I voted for Monique, right? A lot of people looked at, that situation where they had her on camera signing stuff for, old boy. But to me, and this is just, maybe this is my criminal mind thinking now, but to me, what she did shouldn't be even looked at as illegal. If you're trying to help somebody get a job, or you're trying to help somebody get ahead, to me, that's what we're supposed to be doing. Like, I mean, maybe I'm wrong for that, and I could be wrong. I'm not above reproach. I'm not above rebuking. But everything I say ain't going to be perfect or ain't going to be right. I have my own views. I have my own ideology. And a lot of the things that I'm into, a lot of people ain't into that, man. And the lifestyle I've had and the background I've came from, a lot of people didn't come up like that. But yeah, those are the only two Democrats that I voted for. Everybody else I voted Republican, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to see a different outcome than the last 4 years, man. Like, I want a different outcome, man. You can't, it's nothing that happened these last 4 years that I want to repeat. And if I'm wrong, like I say, y'all got the floor to tell me what y'all think. Like, what do y'all think about Kamala Harris losing this election? Why do y'all think it happened? Like, that's a serious question. That's serious, man. And it just shows you, like I say, the lack of support in the black community. It shows you the lack of support in our community. And it's uncalled for. People ain't vote. People said they couldn't see a reason to vote for either one of them. People literally died so you can have the option to vote for somebody. And even if you voted for Kamala and she didn't win, that's better than you not voting at all. Like, I was like I say, I was that person at one point in time who didn't think my vote count, who didn't vote, who didn't participate in the political process. And the last 4 years showed me why my way of thinking was totally wrong. I was ignorant to what I needed to know as far as on a local level, state, and federal level. I was ignorant to that. Your vote does count. It counts for at least you have an opinion. You have a dog in the fight, whether your opponent or candidate loses or not. You still have the option to voice why you voted for that person, and you can be heard. But the people that didn't vote, you don't have a voice. And that's why people died, so you can have a voice. So to me, when I hear somebody say that, I automatically cancel out what they're talking about, because you ain't even participate in the process. It's people that got beat up. Dogs got sicked on people. People got killed. It was girls. I think it was 4 girls in Mississippi that got killed in the church, burnt up in the church. About this whole right to have things for black people. And you mean to tell me it's people out here that's still ignorant, but think they have an opinion, but think they can have an opinion about Donald Trump, that think they can have an opinion about Kamala Harris? No, your opinion don't count. This conversation is for the people who actually participated in the process. This conversation is for people that wanted something to happen, whether it was democratically or whether it was on the Republican side. You get to voice your opinion. The people that did not vote don't get the right to say nothing. Whatever happens just happens. You don't have a dog in the fight. You didn't even vote for a change, or you didn't vote for your demise. You're comfortable with just life. You're a winger. You're gonna wing life. And that's the problem in the black community. Y'all wing things until people that see the worth in your community comes in and buy it right up from up under you. They come right in, buy it for cheap, build it up, make it back great again, and then sell it for high. When you should have been thinking the same way, or at least seeing the gold in the community or the gems in the community, understanding that the character of the community is also the identity of the community. But you let somebody else come and change the identity of your own community and then sell it, or put these liquor stores or put these gas stations or put these dispensaries in your area where kids got to grow up seeing that every day. You know, for a kid to be successful, they got to see something other than dispensaries every day. So in our community, as people want to smoke weed and parents want to introduce that into your kid's life, without even knowing that's what you're doing, it's like you're really the cause of why your community is failing. And your community will continue to fail as long as you think being a Democrat is the only way that you can vote. Like, for real. It just is what it is, man. I'm not the type of conversationalist who has a conversation for people to agree with me. I want to know what y'all think because I care, but I also don't want to be deemed strange or weird because I don't think like y'all. Yeah, I'm from the hood. Yeah, I'm from the black community, but that don't mean I have to think like a ignorant nigga. I can think outside the box. I can dream of a better world. I can imagine a better place. I remember growing up, being in school, imagining my lifestyle before I ever became an adult, because my imagination took me away from the struggles and the stresses and the pain that I had to go through as an adolescent. So, you know, that's why I'm the way I am now, man. I've always been set apart. I've always tried to be different on purpose, intentionally. I've never tried to follow the in crowd. You know, the gentleman or the man that I chose to, you know, circle myself around gave me game, taught me how to be a better man. Also, you know, held me to a different standard. So I was held to high regards, and I was around men who really took care of their children, took care of their people. Like, I didn't hang around guys who didn't take care of everybody around them. It's like they felt the obligation to make sure you was good. Similar to how Meech used to take care of all the people that was in BMF. These men helped me. These men, you know, really created me and helped me become a man. And I had multiple references to take a little bit from him, take a little bit from him, take a little bit from him. And shoot, I had that later in life from the man I chose to learn from. These are my mentors. You know, they taught me how to be a hustler. They taught me how to be strategic and be serious and be focused and be disciplined. So yeah, man. I wish somebody would have just came on here and had a conversation with me, though, because this is something that needs to be talked about. Like, all of the Donald Trump a felon, and if he can be a felon, then it shouldn't be a problem for nobody else to get a job. No, it's a problem if you don't apply yourself. The problem is, I know a lot of felons who ain't out here struggling because of something they did in their past. It's about it. Are you applying yourself? Are you going back to school? Are you educating yourself? Are you educating yourself on the job that you want and doing the work? Are you doing that? Or are you using the I'm a felon as an excuse for why you ain't got a job or why you can't get ahead or why ain't nobody giving you an opportunity. No, a person ain't gonna give you an opportunity if they don't see you're serious. That's your problem. Your problem ain't you're a felon. Your problem is your attitude. Your problem is your energy. You don't promote energy that makes a person want to hire you. On top of you're a felon. See, Donald Trump could have used the whole situation of he's a felon to be the reason why he's not the president right now. But did he let that hold him back from continuing to try? No, he didn't. And look at the outcome now. But yeah, I'm going to get on up out of here, man, because y'all ain't talking. I appreciate the ones that came up in here, and just paid attention for a little bit. I ain't want to talk nobody's ears off or give y'all no facts, but man, this is a serious conversation that needs to be had. Why y'all think Kamala Harris didn't get elected? Like, ask y'all people, man. Ask y'all people why they think. That's more serious. That's more serious than anything. Why y'all think? What up, sis? But why y'all think Kamala Harris? Sis, okay, so why you in here before I go? Because ain't nobody else want to answer this. Why do you think Kamala Harris didn't get elected? And this is a serious question, sis. Why you think she didn't get elected? Like, real talk. I really want to know that. That's a part of it, man. That's a part of it. Also, she kept. No, it ain't. It's not that, sis. We're not gonna just equate it to she was a woman because everybody ain't religious. You get what I'm saying? Everybody don't believe that women shouldn't lead because God said that in 2 Timothy. Everybody don't follow that mantra. A lot of people just don't think that she held herself accountable. She didn't hold herself accountable to the economy being messed up and having the deciding. She had the deciding vote for if we was going to stay with the Trump and Obama's economy, because really that was Obama and Trump kept that. And then when Biden got in office, he signed executive orders to change what Obama and Trump was doing. I mean, when it came to the other countries, right? The other countries would have looked at America as weak because we allowed a woman to lead. But like I say, that goes back to the Bible. See, it ain't that women can't lead. It's just God never intended for women to be leaders. He intended for women to help men. Yeah, but that, like I say, yup, you right. But that goes back to the Bible. A lot of, like, the Muslims, they're not gonna let a woman lead because in the Bible, in the Quran, it says a woman shouldn't lead. So that's why you have in these other countries where they may feel like women don't have rights, right? But it's not that women don't have rights. It's just those men are following God's word. And in God's word, it says a woman shouldn't be a leader. So I'm not the type of person. So a person may feel like I'm misogynistic, right? But I'm just not the type of person to take what the Bible is translating to me and us and twist it or make it be suitable for women or make it better for my understanding. No, I understand what I'm reading from how God intended for me to understand it. I don't try to make it better for myself. And I'm not taking that away from you. But at the end of the day, you also have a husband, and your husband is your covering. He rules over you. Because when Eve past Adam that fruit from the tree of knowledge, her punishment was her husband shall rule over her. So where we get stuff twisted is we think you gotta go through a ceremony and get a ring, and a man gotta get down on one knee to get married. No. Once you start sleeping with a man, once you start having babies by a man, once you even start living with the man, that's your husband. Like, you ain't gotta go through a ceremony to be a wife. You gotta start helping the man you believe in and believe in his purpose, and that's your husband. So once he takes you as his wife and you take him as your husband, it is your job to help him with his purpose, because you're the beneficiary of his greatness. So how women be trying to, talk about man and man ain't this and man ain't that, I don't respect those women, because they don't even understand. You benefit from his greatness. But in order for a man to be great, you have to help him. So if you don't understand that your role is to help a man be great, then you will never have a great man. You will forever think that all these men ain't nothing, and all this disrespectful talk when it comes. See, I don't like disrespectful women, and they're really masculine to me, because they don't truly understand the divine order of things. If you follow the word of God, your job will be simpler as a woman. But when you get the getting out of his way and creating your own way and thinking that that's better for you because you couldn't tolerate what this man was putting you through, and you couldn't tolerate what your husband was really doing to you, it's like, okay, but that doesn't make your job easier. It actually makes your job harder, because this man is supposed to be your covering. This man is supposed to be your protection, your provision. So if you decide to choose a man that you can't tolerate what he's putting you through, it's not always smart to leave that man alone. Because that's why they say the grass ain't always greener. You'll leave this man alone and think that life will be better because you left this man alone, when it ain't always like that. That's like me. If I leave my woman alone because my woman, do things I don't like, that's immature. That's an immature trait of a person. You have to learn to control your emotions as a woman. You have to learn how to help. You have to learn how to be there when he needs you and don't be there when he don't. You don't have to put yourself in everything. You don't have to be a part of everything. And you have to be there when he needs you. That's your role as the woman. Everything else, you making it hard. You going through all these emotional things because you trying to do too much. He didn't ask you to do that. Why you trying to do everything? He didn't ask you to do everything. Now, if I ask you to do this, I need you to do that. But don't make his life harder because you're combative or you're a brawling woman. Don't make his job harder to protect you or provide for you, because that's what women sometimes do. And to me, also, Kamala Harris isn't for black people, because how are you going to say as a black woman, if she's black, that you support black people and you need the black vote, but you have a Caucasian husband? And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with black women having, Caucasian husbands. What I'm saying is, it would look better if a black woman had a black husband that said she was for black people. We can actually see you're for black men if you're married to one. But if you ain't married to one, then that's kind of suspect for you to say that you're, trying to help black men, when it's like, okay, you don't even got a black man that you help. You don't know the first thing about helping a black man. You got a Caucasian husband. Now, like I say, it ain't nothing wrong with that. If that's what your preference is, if that's who loves you, shoot, go with that. But don't be mad if we don't support you, because what we see and what you say don't line up. And that's where I'm thinking, on top of people not showing up to vote, that's what hurt her. She'll always revert back to Donald Trump for every reason why things aren't right. How is the economy not right from 4 years ago when you and Biden signed executive orders and you had the tie-breaking vote to change the economy? How is that Donald Trump fault? How is it Donald Trump for all these illegal immigrants are over here? Even if he didn't sign that bill, millions of immigrants wouldn't have been able to cross over and get over here if y'all weren't busting them over here. If y'all wasn't flying them over here. How are they getting to these little small hick towns in what is that, Springfield, Ohio? How are they getting to New York? How are they getting to these places without transportation? They ain't walking from Mexico to New York. They ain't walking from Mexico to Chicago. They ain't walking. They're getting transportation. They're getting help. And the thing about us as Americans, we should be mad about that because, like I just said, it's people that's going through natural disasters in Florida that only can get $700 and some dollars. When they were showing receipts of people having $14,000 in food stamps, getting money to buy cars, tricking them out, getting money for houses. They were paying people in Chicago $500, I think, an immigrant to let them stay with you. They're incentivizing for other races to benefit off of Americans' tax dollars and American benefits when we're the people that's supposed to be the beneficiaries of that. But like I say, when it all boils down, instead of black people standing, well, I can't say black people didn't stand up, because when you look, like I say, at the polls, it sure looked like a whole bunch of black people said they was going to vote for Kamala, and they went in there and voted right for Trump. Because Saginaw predominantly was a red, it was flipped to red. The state of Michigan was predominantly red. A lot of the swing states and Democratic states were flipped to Republican this year. So, you know, either people was lying about who they voted for, or, like I say, enough people didn't show up to vote. And that's how I feel about that. That's what I stand on. Enough people didn't show up. Enough black people didn't show up to support Kamala Harris. But when you think about it, is it more black people in Saginaw than Caucasians? That's a question too. Is it more black people in the state of Michigan than Caucasian people? That's another question. But at the end of the day, we seen that no matter how people feel about the election, the results was Republican. People were tired of the Democratic Party. People are tired of what the Democrats didn't provide. People are tired of the lies. People are tired of the games. People decided to vote for what we had, or at least a change of what we was going through. And I'm all for it. I'm all for it. But yeah, man, y'all like, share this video, man. What else y'all think, you know, needs to be talked about other than why Kamala didn't win, man? You know, let me know in that comment section what we can talk about, what we may need to, you know, address, man. Or some of the things we need to address about the black community. Let me know. I'ma holla back.